time for the mid-month PS Plus update for those with the extra and premium tiers of the subscription service. It's a little peculiar this month as we have 15 games to go through, 9 of which are coming on February 18th, with 6 coming later in the year. And also 8 games are leaving this week too. So I'll show you a little gameplay from each and a quick overview, and your job is to decide what to play and maybe leave me a like, please. I'm Adam. Hello there. Let's start with the PlayStation Plus Extra tier. Our month kicks off with the return of Cal Kestis in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The narrative-driven single-player game comes to both PS4 and PS5, picking up the story about 5 years after Fallen Order. Cal has been training in that time and comes back with improved combat skills, including 5 lightsaber stances to master, utilising standard swordplay or a Darth Maul-esque double-bladed lightsaber, or even a pair of blades if you prefer. Cal's force abilities have upgraded too, which is handy as the caliber of enemies has gone up a notch or two since our last outing. Jedi Survivor is definitely a linear game, but there are some open hubs to explore and secrets to find off the beaten path. And to incentivise us to explore, we have a range of mounts to get around on. Jedi Survivor has an average review score of 85 out of 100. A brand spanking new game coming your way is Lost Record Bloom and Rage Tape 1. Okay, the naming isn't great, but stick with it, as Lost Record is the latest narrative adventure from many of the team who brought us Life is Strange. There are 2 parts to this game, and we'll receive the second half, aka Tape 2, in April's PS Plus Extra update. Story-wise, this is set in 2 timelines simultaneously, in the 1990s and 2022. We play as 4 high school girls 27 years ago, before discovering life-changing secrets in the 90s, which reflect in the modern day, building a complex puzzle through time itself. And everything depends on the decisions we make in the moment. Will you try Lost Record? The sports game for the month is TopSpin 2K25, a game that's less than a year old. The hook of TopSpin is mastering the timing of a shot as a bar flashes up on screen with a perfect green zone to time your button press and release. The better the opposition, the more pressure is on you to go for broke and hit perfect shots. The career mode has us climbing up the ranks of the ATP Tour, but it isn't all about tournaments. We must manage our training times, take time off, and hire a coach to help plan and coordinate, slowly progressing until you get your invite to Wimbledon. And also to get virtual currency to dress your character like an Elton John reject. And as this is a 2K game, the constant pressure to buy more credits with your real life money is as unwelcome as it is in all their games. There's a bunch of licensed players to take on, including legends from the past. TopSpin 2K25 has a Metacritic score of 76 out of 100. If you prefer to wield a sword instead of a tennis racket, check out Mordhau, a multiplayer medieval slasher in which your mercenary will fight in brutal fast-paced battles, castle sieges and cavalry charges. We can scrap in smaller skirmishes or full-scale 64-player wars. A thing to note right away though is how tough Mordhau is to pick up if you're new to this type of melee slasher. Understanding when to dodge or pretend to strike to trick your enemy into the wrong position takes a great deal of time to master. The angle you choose to strike at is almost always the difference between winning and losing a face-off. The only thing I ask is that you don't unalive the bards, because I love the music they play during war. Average review score 8 out of 10. Our puzzle game for February is Tin Hearts. Our job is to guide a troop of toy soldiers to the exit. If you've played a Lemmings game, you get the idea immediately. Those little dudes keep walking forward without a care in the world, and it's up to us to redirect them and place things in their way to safely guide them through the story. With over 50 puzzles to outthink, each more challenging than the last. All set in the backdrop of Victorian England. Another narrative puzzler is Somerville, and if you're getting Limbo or Inside vibes, it's made by many members of the same team. We play as an unnamed man who doesn't speak, and in fact, there are no voice lines in the entire game. Everything in this sci-fi world is told through actions, like UFO debris falling from the sky without warning. Running at about 4 hours in length, our hero must find the weaknesses of what looks like an alien invasion, and keep pushing forward to a really bizarre final encounter. Somerville review scores average out at 7 out of 10. Finally on Extra, SaGa Frontier Remastered, the classic RPG from 1998. A typical turn-based JRPG from the time, now has an improved UI and of course a step up in visuals. We play as one of 8 heroes, each with their own storyline to work through and goals to achieve, like a dude who needs some magical rings to save his homeland. SaGa Frontier Remastered is a PS4 game. So, have you found something to play this month? If you haven't, here's an extra suggestion for you. As everyone hates Ubisoft right now, let's turn that frown upside down. You should know that they have been slowly upgrading all of their back catalogue to support 60 frames per second on PS4 and PS5, which means the greatest Assassin's Creed you never played is waiting for you, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It ran so poorly back in 2015, but now the British simulator is like a new game. If you're more of a Far Cry fan, then you should know that the latest game Ubisoft has dragged into the modern age, last week in fact, is Far Cry New Dawn, the post-apocalyptic game built on the remains of the Far Cry 5 map after a nuke dropped, where the world is barren and life is scarce. Okay, as always, we lose a bunch of games out of Premium and Extra this week. Thankfully, it's only 8 games this time instead of the usual 15. They will be removed and locked from your account on February 18th. Going away is the massively underrated Outer Worlds, which is essentially a Fallout game in everything but name, made by the devs of one of the most iconic Fallout games, New Vegas. The first-person RPG shooter was praised for its writing and its freedom of choice as you bound around the galaxy, helping people or ruining everything. Also going is Outriders, another RPG shooter, this time set in third person, with cover shooting the core mechanic. We also have a bunch of superpowers, manipulating time, fire, and even the ground beneath our feet. The loot grind becomes the focus as the enemies increase in their bullet sponge abilities. If you play in a squad, this is actually a pretty good game. Also going, a bunch of Tales games are leaving. Tales of Arise, Tales of Zestiria, Tales of Symphonia, and Tales of Vesperia. It's too late to start any of these games now. They take more hours than you have left. Finally, say bye-bye to Scarlet Nexus and a game I keep putting off and now it's going away. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, the balls to the wall first-person shooter. All of those games are going away on February 18th. Over we go to the next tier of PS Plus, Premium or Deluxe depending on where you are in the world. And only 2 games are offered this month, starting with the PSP classic Patapon 3, the 2011 handheld game in which we march an army across the screen and battle everything in our path. This is a rhythm game, listening and repeating a chain of noises that we then replicate with our button presses. Eventually this game will totally break you, and only 20 minutes later you'll be singing Pata Pata Patapon like a madman. We also have Dropship United Peace Force, a game, I'll be honest, I'd never heard of. We play as a stealth dropship pilot who goes on covert missions around the world to keep us all safe from harm, across 20 missions in total. It will look better than this, by the way. This is PS2 footage from Timeless Gaming. Hey, we have a little extra this month, as PlayStation showed us some of the games we'll receive in the future. First, a few indie games. Blueprints is an architectural adventure game in which we build a manor house room by room, and to do this, we explore and solve puzzles. We'll be getting Blueprints in springtime, so that means between March and June. Next coming in the summer is Abiotic Factor, a 6-player online survival game in which we must craft traps and other inventions to keep the aliens at bay in this underground facility. We are armed with weapons and shields, yet it's the cool stuff we craft that makes Abiotic Factor, especially with friends, a great deal of fun. Dropping sometime between June and September. On the Classics catalogue, not 1, not 2, but 3 of the first Armored Core games will appear soon, long before the Fires of Rubicon, when we piloted a mech in 1997, going into missions, managing our upgrades and repairing parts before the next battle begins. And finally, a big one to end. Still to come this year is FBC Firebreak, a first-person cooperative shooter set in the same world as the mind-bending Control. The FBC part actually stands for the Federal Bureau of Control. We are a soldier in the Firebreak team, who are essentially an adaptive response unit to push back any anomalies and otherworldly forces that make it across to our world. A unit is 3 players, all of which are real people, as this is a PvE game, player versus environment, where AI controls our foes, all infected and controlled by a new enemy named the Hiss. Firebreak doesn't have a date just yet, but 2025 is confirmed. So that's all 15 games coming in February and beyond. I hope this was helpful. I'm Adam, you're awesome, it's been a pleasure. See ya!